Hello everybody, how are you? Today we will talk about integration by parts, solve all questions about integration by parts from المعاصر book. Define a revision, okay? Look at with me about this question. Integration of this function x power 5 multiplication by ln of x dx. Okay, we have ln of x and 5 here, x power 5. You must choose function to find derivative about it and function to find integration about it. We know derivative about ln of x, it will be 1 over x, and derivative about what here, x power 5, it will be right integration about this will be 5 here, and we must add 1 to the power and divide it by the new power. We can find integration about this function, right? X power 6 over 6. Understood? Again, we change between two number here, right? Ln of x, choose this function to find derivative about it, and this function x power 5 dx, find the integration about this function. And then we can using the rule between them, u multiplication by v, subtract by integration by y du. This rule to find the result. U multiplication v subtract v multiplication by du. This is the rule about integration. U multiplication by v subtract by integration by v du. Okay, application this rule here to find the result. Ln x multiplication by 1 over 6 x power 6, it will be 1 over 6 x power 6 ln of x, subtract integration by multiplication by two function here, it will be what, 1 over x multiplication by x power 6 over 6. Okay, and this function du here will be o dx, because we derivative about du, it will be u will be du, and then x will be 1 over x dx. Write dx here, and then write the result 1 over 6 x power 6 ln of x, subtract x power 6 over x, we can cancel it, divide it or simplify it, it will be x power 5. We must add 1 to the power and divide it by the new power 6, multiplication by 6 here in numerator, here, and write the constant 6 times 6 equals 36. The result will be x power 6 over 36 plus constant. Integration of x cosine x dx. Okay, we must choose function here to derivative of it, right? U equal x and dv equal cosine x dx. Okay, choose function here to derivative it. Derivative about u will be du, and here will be dx, and integration about the function will be v, and integration about cosine will be sine. And using the rule u multiplication by v subtract integration by v du. So the result will be x multiplication by this function x sine x, subtract integration by this function multiplication dx sine x, multiplication by sin x dx. Okay, right, x here sine x, subtract integration about sine will be what, negative cosine, negative times negative equal positive. That's the result. Next question here, integration of x multiplication e power x dx. Choose function u and function about integration it. Put u equal x, and derivative about this function will be dx, and integration about this function here e power x dx integration about it will be v e power x, and using the rule u multiplication by v subtract integration by v du. Okay, write the integration here, x multiplication e power x. The result will be, I will solve it. Okay, x multiplication e power x subtract integration v du, v here it will be e power x dot du, here it will be dx. Okay, the result will be x e power x subtract integration about e power x, it will be e power x plus constant integration of x power 2 e power x dx. We must choose function such that u will be equal x power 2 and dv equal ex dx. Okay, and derivative about this function will be u 2 dx dx, and dv here it will be v integration about this function, dv equal v e power x, it will be e power x, and using the rule here it will be integration of uv, write the result all the time, uv subtract integration by v du. U here it will be x power 2 multiplication by e power x subtract integration by e power x multiplication dx to x dx e power x. We can find integration by this function again because we have ex and e power x. Then we can, using the rule again, choose function u and function dv. We have 2 here, write 2 outside coefficient between them, and write x here, derivative about du, it will be equal dx, and dv equal ex e power x dx. Integration about this function will be v equal e power x, and then write x power 2 e power x subtract the result here, x times v here, x times e power x subtract integration of e power x dx. Okay, we can write x power 2 e power x subtract, we have 2 here outside, don't forget, 2x e power x subtract 2 multiplication by integration about e power x, it will be e power x plus constant. So it is the result. We haven't the same term here, so it's the result number. Integration of this function x power 3 dot sine x dx. We know x power 3, we can find the end about derivative of this function. Look at here, we can draw the table here, derivative and integration. We can write this function x power 3 and integration about this function sine x. Derivative about it, it will be 3x power 2, it will be 6x, it will be 6, it will be equal 0. Okay, and integration about this function, integration about sine will be negative cosine, integration about negative cosine, it will be negative sine, integration about sine will be negative cosine, negative times negative equal positive, integration about cosine will be sine. Multiplication them. Okay, x power 3 times the negative cosine x, it will be negative x power 3 cosine x, negative 3x power 2 multiplication negative sine x, negative times negative equal positive 3x power 2 sine x, and positive 6x multiplication by negative cosine x, it will be negative here cosine x. Understood? We have here positive and negative and the positive about this function 6x, positive here, and it will be negative and it will be positive. Positive, yeah, positive. Multiplication by negative, it will be negative. Positive 6x times cosine x will be positive. 6x to cosine times cosine x, it will be positive, and write negative. 6 times sine x plus constant. Integration about then x dx. Choose function u and dv. We can write u equal ln x because we know derivative about ln x equal 1 over x, and here du, and write dx, and dv equal dx. Integration about x will be v and it will be x. Using the rule u multiplication by v subtract by integration by v du. The result will be equal u multiplication by v ln x multiplication by x, it will be x ln of x. Subtract integration of multiplication between them, x times 1 over x, it will be 1 times dx, it will be x ln of x. Subtract by integration about 1 dx, it will be x plus constant. Look at this example. We want to find the integration 1 over x multiplication by ln of x dx. Okay, we know this function 1 over x over ln of x dx, numerator derivative about denominator, so the result will be ln of absolute value of the function in denominator plus constant. And what about this example? Integration about ln of x over x dx. We know it's multiplication about 1 over x and ln of x d of x. Function here and derivative behind it. So we can cancel the derivative and write the function power 2 divided by 2. We can write ln of x or power 2 divided by 2 plus constant, because we have two functions here. 1 over x derivative about ln of x, then we must add 1 to the power of this function and divide it by the new power. Find the integration of x power 2 multiplication a power x power 2 dx. We can find the integration here by write x power 2 equal x dot e power x power 2. Why? Because this function we can write derivative about the power here, multiplication by 2 here and divided by 2, and we can write this function here as the first and this function second. We will talk this function about u, and we can find derivative about this function here, or integration about it will be e power x power 2. Write u here and it will be dv. Okay, then u will be equal x, and put dv equal 2x e power x power 2, and then you can find derivative about this function and integration about this function and derivative here. Derivative about x will be 1, then du equal dx, and integration about dv, it will be v, and this function we have function and derivative behind it will be e power x power 2, and using the rule to find the result, u multiplication by v subtract integration of v du. Write half outside here and u times v, it will be x multiplication e power x power 2 subtract by integration of v du e x power 2 dx, e power x power 2 dx. Integration of cosine x over 8 cosine x plus 7 sine x dx. 8 and 7. Who can tell me the result? Thinking with me here. I will draw right angle triangle here and write this angle alpha. 8 and 7 sine and cosine. Sine will be 8 and cosine, sine multiplication by 7 and cosine multiplication by 8. Okay, 7 multiplication by sine. You must draw a triangle here and write 7 and write 8. Thinking with me, okay? I will draw a triangle and write the coefficient of sine opposite the angle and coefficient of x, cosine x adjacent the angle. And find this by using Pythagoras square root about 8 power 2, 64 plus 7 power 2, 49. It will be 113. Okay, and we will multiplication by what? Thinking with me here, 8 cosine x plus 7 sine x. I will divide it here by root over root of 113 and multiplication by them. I divided it to cancel it, divided by this outside. Why? Because 8 over square root about 1 over 13, it will be adjacent about angle cosine alpha. It will be what? Cosine alpha. Then I will write here 1 over root 113 integration of cosine x over, it will be what? Adjacent about angle cosine alpha cosine x, plus 7 over 1 square root about 1 over 13, 7, it will be sine alpha. Right, sine alpha, because it's opposite with hypotenuse, it will be sine alpha multiplication by sine x all dx. And we know the rule, cosine cosine sine sine, it will be cosine first angle subtract second angle. Okay, understood this method? Complete with me. I equal 1 over square root of square root of 113, and we can write cosine x multiplication by 1 over cosine, it will be sec alpha minus x dx. We can using integration by parts here. Using this function, we can find derivative or integration about this and derivative here. Okay, I will choose u will be equal sec alpha minus x, and this function derivative integration to dv will be v about this function cosine x dx. Okay, it will be what? Cosine x, the integration about cosine will be sine. Okay, and u about integration about sec. Here we can find integration or derivative. We have here integration and here derivative about sec, meaning sectan, sec angle minus tan angle. Okay, it will be sec multiplication tan, sectan. Okay, dx, du here and v here. U multiplication by v, subtract integration sine x multiplication this function. Okay, and we have here 1 over root 13 multiplication by them, sec multiplication sine x multiplication by sec alpha minus x, subtract by integration between v and du, sine x here multiplication by sec alpha minus x multiplication by tan alpha minus x all dx. Okay, This function here, we can complete it by using u equal sine x here, and dv equal sec x minus alpha dot x minus alpha. Derivative about this function will be negative cosine x, it will be du, and integration about this function sec tan, it will be tan. Okay, integration about this answer, sec tan, it will be tan. Sec tan, it will be sec. Sec tan, it will be sec. Okay, integration about sec tan, it will be sec. And using rule here, I will be 1 over root 13 sine x multiplication sec x minus alpha, subtract integration by them, sine x multiplication by sec x minus alpha. This we know, subtract by integration. This integration, the result here, subtract by integration between them, sec x minus alpha dot negative cosine x dx. This function here, negative sine x sec x minus alpha, we can cancel them, cancel this by this, and write 1 over root 13 equal negative times negative equal positive, integration of sec x minus alpha dot cosine x dx. We can choose function to derivative and function to integration. Okay, I will write here u and dv. The function here, sec, derivative about sec tan. Okay, and cosine, derivative about cosine, it will be cosine x, it will be negative sine x, and this function sec x minus alpha v, or change them, shows this function cosine x here, because we can find integration about cosine x, it will be sine x, but sec we haven't integration about it, so I will choose this function here to find derivative about sec, it will be sec tan. And put here cross between them, subtract integration between sine x multiplication by sec x minus alpha multiplication tan x minus alpha. Next question here, integration of x bar 3 dot cosine x bar 2 plus 5 dx. This function here, cosine, this function, we must find the derivative about the function outside, and we can write x bar 2 here dot x dot cosine x bar 2 plus 5 dx. Derivative of this function here will be 2x, right? 2 and divided by 2, so we have function and derivative behind it. We can using integration by parts, write u equal x power 2 and dv equal 2x multiplication by cosine x power 2 plus 5. Okay, cosine x power 2 plus 5 dx, and then du will be here 2x dx, integration about this function it will be what we have function and derivative about function here x power 2 plus 5 outside. Then we can cancel the derivative here and write the function here, get going to sine x power 2 plus 5. Okay, the derivative here and integration using the rule x power 2 multiplication, right half outside here, x power 2 subtract by or multiplication by sine x power 2 plus 5 subtract by integration of sine x power 2 plus 5 multiplication by 2x dx, right, 2x dx. Derivative about this function here is power 2 plus 2 5 equal to x here. Okay, so we can write the first result here of x power 2 sine x power 2 plus 5, and this function we can find integration because we have the derivative about function here 2x outside. So integration about sine will be negative cosine, negative times negative equal positive, positive cosine x power 2 plus 5 plus constant, because we have the derivative about function. We have function and derivative about the angle here, it will be 2x, so we can cancel the derivative here and write the function plus constant.